What's up, bud? It's Rob. This is Apparel Success, and in this video right now, what I want to talk to you about is a very simple mistake to make that can have absolutely devastating consequences for your clothing brand. And it might not be what you'd think, but it's actually coming out with too many of the wrong sizes for your products when it comes to carrying inventory and having too much inventory of the wrong sizes for your products. I want to talk to you about why you want to avoid this at all costs and how to do it. It's going to be a good episode. Here it is. This video is sponsored by my buds over at Design Crowd, and if you need designs made for your clothing brand, I recommend that you check out Design Crowd. Design Crowd allows you to crowdsource amazing designs from designers located all around the world, and for a special $100 VIP offer for Apparel Success viewers only, head over to www.designcrowd.com/apparel to learn more, or simply use the discount code APPAREL when you post a project on Design Crowd. All right, when I first started up my clothing brand, K-Bud Apparel, one of the decisions that we had to make was which sizes are we going to come out with for the products that we're releasing. And the reason why this was a difficult decision to make was because we had no data to pull from that showed which sizes our audience prefers most. We didn't know whether to come out with 20 small, 20 medium, 10 small, and 30 large. We had no idea which sizes to come out with, and I'm sure you're experiencing that. Just like us, when we first started, you're probably guessing for a lot of those sizes that you're coming out with for your clothing brand. And I really want to make a point in this video that this is something that you don't want to take lightly, okay? You don't want to come at this decision and just release whatever when it comes to the sizes of your clothing. You really want to do as best you can to research the sizes that are best for your audience and come out with the best sizes for your audience. And the reason for that is because if you take this lightly and you guess at the sizes that you want to come out with for each product, then you can be stuck with forever, batches of shirts that you'll never be able to sell because your particular audience just simply doesn't buy that size of clothing. So for example, we came out with a lot of our men's shirts, and we came out with quite the number of size small for our men's shirts. And what we found is that most of the men who are ordering shirts are generally a medium, but mostly a large and an extra large, okay? So if you're coming out with smalls, and you're coming out with a lot of smalls for your clothing brand because you just don't know that men generally order large and extra large, then you're going to be stuck with a whole bunch of inventory that you can't sell. And it's not because your designs aren't good, it's because the size isn't right and people just simply don't buy that size. So every single clothing brand is going to be different in terms of the most common size that your audience is buying, and that's just because every clothing brand has a different audience. If your clothing brand's audience is basketball players, then I doubt you're going to be selling a lot of smalls. And if your clothing brand's a bunch of gymnasts, then maybe you will be selling a bunch of smalls and not a bunch of extra larges, right? And so you really need to think deeply about your audience. So what I'm going to do for you here, you may think that I'm just going to, tell you to research your audience and, go deep into your audience. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the most common sizes that I sell for my clothing brand and the order quantities that we order, so that you can have a rough guess at what to do if you're first starting out for the first time. And this is what I recommend that you do if your audience is just a general lifestyle brand, okay? So if you're selling a lifestyle brand, kind of like us, where everybody's kind of different sizes, this is what I recommend. All right, so for my clothing brand, if we're ordering a batch of men's t-shirts, our order might look something like 5 small, 10 medium, 20 large, 20 extra large, and 5 double extra large, okay? And this is just what we've discovered after a lot of trial and error with my own audience. So your audience obviously might be a little bit different than that, but I'm just sharing with you openly the size quantities that we order for our clothing brand. Now, when it comes to hoodies, this is different because we have a unisex audience for our hoodies. So when we're ordering smalls, we'll order a lot more smalls than we would for our hoodies than we would for our t-shirts. And that's just because we're taking into account that girls are going to be buying this. And generally when girls buy it, they're buying way more smalls than the men are buying, okay? So when it comes to hoodies, we'd order something like, 15 small, 15 medium, 20 large, 20 extra large, and then, maybe like 7 or 8 double extra large. And this is just to test out a product for the first time to see how it's doing. Obviously, if a product's selling more, then we'll order more in quantity, but this is really just to test out the market, see how it does, and see which sizes are selling of that particular product. Because another thing to mention here is that you could have 2 hoodies with two completely different size frequencies that you're selling, right? If you have a hoodie that sells more to the girls, then that might sell way more small and mediums. But if you have a hoodie that sells really only to guys because it's just the color scheme only guys kind of really want, then you're going to have to order more large and extra large. So this is something that you really want to pay attention to. Now, when it comes to our ladies' tees and tanks, the sizes will look something like 20 small, 20 medium, 15 large, and 10 extra large. And obviously that is also based on trial and error with our own audience and realizing what sells most for us. Now, a big point that I want to make here is that when you're first starting up, there's obviously going to be a certain degree of guessing with this, okay? So it's completely okay to, take a little bit of a guess. But generally, the second you start accumulating data and you start selling, you want to go back through your orders and back through the history of what you've sold and make sure that when you re-up that inventory that you're coming out with the right sizes that are actually selling for your clothing brand, okay? And obviously when you're coming out with your inventory for the first time, don't invest in too much inventory for a product that you haven't tested in the market yet, because you don't want to be stuck with a lot of inventory that you can't sell, okay? So when you're coming out with your minimum order quantities, I recommend obviously doing your best judgment to come out with the right sizes and then coming out with the least amount until you've sold that. Then you can re-up and you can really up the quantity, okay? I hope this video helped you. Let me know what you think in the comments below and drop your brand down there. I like to check out the brands that are watching these videos. And if you've made it to this point in the video, I want to let you know about the closed Facebook group that we have going on for apparel success. There's a link in the description below. Check it out. And thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.